What if all 8 billion humans on Earth suddenly became vegan? No meat, no fish, no eggs, not even milk. At first, that might sound simple, but here's a question most people never think about. If humanity stopped eating animals tomorrow, what would happen to the nearly 80 billion land animals slaughtered for food every single year? Would they suddenly be saved? Would they be released into the wild? Or would something even stranger happen? Before we answer that, we need to understand what vegan actually means. Most people think vegan simply means not eating meat, but true veganism goes much further than that. No burgers, no chicken, no fish, no milk in your morning coffee, no cheese on your pizza, no butter, no yogurt, no eggs. Anything that comes from an animal is removed from the human food chain. Now imagine that happening everywhere. Not in one city, not in one country, but across the entire planet. Nearly 8 billion people making the same choice on the same day. It sounds like a victory for animals. It sounds like a victory for the environment. But what happens when humanity suddenly abandons a food system that has existed for thousands of years? Welcome to WonderDocs Studio, your home for exploring the planet's deepest questions. Brand new documentaries release every week. Don't miss it. The moment humanity stops eating animals, one of the largest industries on Earth begins to collapse. Every year, humans slaughter nearly 80 billion land animals for food. That includes chickens, pigs, cows, sheep, and countless others raised specifically for human consumption. But in a vegan world, demand for those animals disappears overnight. No customers, no market, no reason to keep producing them. Across the planet, slaughterhouses would fall silent. Meat processing plants would shut down. Dairy farms would suddenly lose their purpose. Millions of jobs connected to livestock farming, transportation, food processing, and retail could be thrown into uncertainty. But that's not the biggest question. The biggest question is this: what happens to the animals? Most cows, chickens, pigs, and sheep alive today exist because humans intentionally breed them. Without human demand, those populations would have no reason to remain at their current levels. But releasing billions of domesticated animals into the wild isn't a solution. Many would struggle to survive. Others could overwhelm ecosystems that were never designed to support them. So what do? Do we continue feeding them for years? Do we gradually reduce their populations? Or do entire breeds created by thousands of years of selective breeding slowly disappear from Earth? Ironically, humanity's attempt to save animals could create one of the largest animal management challenges in history. Yet while humans wrestle with that problem, the planet itself begins to change. Because livestock doesn't just occupy farms, it occupies land on a staggering scale. Today, roughly 77% of all agricultural land on Earth is used for livestock and animal feed. Yet that vast area produces only about 18% of humanity's calories. Think about that for a moment. More than 3/4 of agricultural land for less than 1/5 of our calories. So what happens when that land is no longer needed? Could forests return? Could wildlife reclaim lost habitats? And then there's methane. Cattle produce large amounts of methane, a greenhouse gas far more powerful than carbon dioxide. With fewer livestock, methane emissions could fall significantly. Climate change wouldn't disappear overnight, but one of its biggest drivers could weaken. Could a vegan world become one of the largest climate experiments in human history? Possibly, but solving one problem often reveals another. What happens to human health? Many studies suggest that carefully planned plant-based diets can reduce the risk of heart disease, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. Healthcare systems could potentially save billions through lower rates of certain lifestyle diseases. But there is another side to the story. Nearly 2 billion people around the world already suffer from some form of micronutrient deficiency. And while a well-planned vegan diet can provide most of the nutrients humans need, some nutrients require much more careful attention. Vitamin B12 is one of the biggest examples, since it is rarely found in natural plant foods. Other nutrients, such as iron, zinc, and omega-3 fatty acids, can be obtained from plants, but not always as easily or efficiently. So what happens when billions of people suddenly rely on carefully planned diets, fortified foods, and supplements to meet their nutritional needs? Can every country afford that transition equally? And what happens in regions where food diversity is already limited? Then there is a challenge that geography itself creates. Travel to parts of Mongolia, the Arctic Circle, or some regions of the African savanna. These are places where farming crops can be extremely difficult. The climate is harsh, growing seasons are short, the soil is often unforgiving. For thousands of years, many communities survived by herding animals because animals could convert grasses that humans cannot eat into food that humans can. So what happens when a global vegan system reaches places where crops struggle to grow? Can technology replace traditions that have survived for centuries? Or does the geography of Earth itself place limits on a universal food system? And animals contribute to far more than food. Leather, gelatin, medical products, pharmaceutical ingredients. Many industries quietly depend on animal byproducts. A sudden vegan transition would force scientists and manufacturers to find alternatives for countless materials that most people rarely think about. Then there is perhaps the most unexpected question of all. What about our pets? Dogs may adapt to specially designed plant-based diets under proper conditions, but cats are different. Cats are obligate carnivores. Their biology evolved around nutrients naturally found in animal tissues. So what happens in a world where humanity rejects animal agriculture entirely? By now it becomes clear that this is no longer just a question about food. It is a question about ecosystems, economics, culture, biology, technology, and the future relationship between humanity and nature itself. The question is no longer whether humans can survive without eating animals. The deeper question is whether a highly engineered food system can truly replicate the complexity of the natural one. A global vegan shift would not simply change our diet. It would rewrite one of the oldest relationships in human history. We might reduce emissions, we might improve public health, we might free enormous amounts of land. But we would also be conducting one of the largest planetary experiments ever attempted. And if 8 billion people suddenly became vegan tomorrow, the outcome could reshape the future of Earth in ways we're only beginning to imagine. Because there are wonders hidden everywhere, and every wonder has a story. This is WonderDocs Studio.